Welcome to Your Schools on Community 7 Television. I'm Shoots Veis and I'm your host. Each month we dive into Billings Public Schools and look at what's going on. This month we're very excited to have Krista Hertz with us. Krista usually comes on and tells us all about the exciting programs that the foundation has been putting on, and well, we've had COVID, so it's been a little bit tough. But Krista, thank you so much for coming down and visiting with us, and we'll kind of get into how you guys have had to move things around just because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
Okay. Before we do that, though, let's get started with this. From a 30,000-foot view, what is the role of the Education Foundation for Billings Public Schools? What is it that you do, and how do you work with Billings Public Schools?
Yeah, the whole focus of the Education Foundation for Billings Public Schools is to provide opportunities and resources to support our students so that they have those abilities, resources they need to do what they choose to do. We do that in a variety of ways, partnering directly with teachers, with administrators, and also really partnering with our community and being that collaborative piece to make those things happen.
Sure. And like I said, normally you guys are very active in engaging people in either activities or to be a part of the schools, and I don't think those things probably just weren't available to you. So what kind of a damper did that put on what you guys could do for the public schools?
Yeah, as far as that outreach, community collaboration, it's put a little bit of a hold on that. Our Educator for a Day, where we have over 150 business and community leaders join our schools and learn. We weren't able to do that this year. So we're trying to think of some creative ways, kind of seeing the forest through the trees, so to speak, of ways that we can share information out. We're learning a lot about technology and social media and coming up with some ideas that we hope to have in place here within the next 3 weeks to share information out virtually. And our Partners in Education program, where businesses and individuals come volunteer in their schools, hasn't been as strong this year, but we've had some creative ideas. McKinley students are pen pals with MSU Billings baseball players, and just some different things. Our Cushing Terrell Santa still delivered gifts to Newman, but he was outside the windows waving and singing Christmas carols. So some creativity in these times.
Sure. Well, let's talk about some of the programs that I think you are pretty well known for, and maybe the answer is we just had to put it on hold. Educator for the Day. What did you guys kind of do around that?
Yeah, Educator for a Day, unfortunately, we just had to put on hold. We'll definitely look forward to this fall to re-engaging that program. We might have to make a few slight changes, but I think we're ready to go with that. Hopefully this spring we'll be able to send some information out virtually to our past participants and encourage people looking forward to next year.
Sure. I'd be a bit remiss if I didn't ask, if someone wanted to be a part of the Educator for the Day program coming up, how do I get involved?
Definitely. We'd love to have people start thinking about that. So they can just email foundation@billingsschools.org and we'll connect and get you set up.
All right. Another one I know that you guys are, kind of everyone knows about is the Reading Rocks program.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about Reading Rocks, and then how have you guys had to modify that program?
Yeah, Reading Rocks, we didn't know if we'd be able to do that this past summer, but with the help and support of Riverstone Health and just our community in general, we had our best year ever. We gave away just shy of 6,000 books.
Wow.
We had families join us every day. Of course, we weren't able to read one-on-one in person, 100 kids on a blanket under a canopy tent in the park, but we were still able to partner with our free lunch program at their sites, and we had tables, 6 feet tables, 6 feet apart, of course, and all of our volunteers wore masks as extra precaution, sanitizer, and when kids came to get their lunch, they could come up and choose a book off the table.
Sure.
And a unique thing we did, we still had our guest storytellers, but we had them come in and we recorded them, uploaded their video to a YouTube channel, attached it to a QR code, and so every child, when they came, got a bookmark each day, could scan with their phone and listen to a great story from a community member.
All right.
Yeah.
Where do you, the 6,000 books, that's a lot of books.
Yeah.
Where do you guys come up with the books, and how do you decide this is the type of books that we're going to have there?
Yeah, so we write a number of grants to different organizations in our community and in our state to fund those. Dennis and Phyllis Washington Foundation has been a key partner of ours for many years, as well as like Billings West Rotary and our exchange clubs and such, who give us donations to purchase these new books. We also do book drives and collect books from anyone who's looking to give away gently used books. We work with our school librarians to get ideas of the popular titles of books so that we have a great selection, because there's something about the upcoming book, a nice new book, and something that really is special to a child. We also are really focusing on increasing our partnerships with early childhood education and stuff to get board books and those younger books into our kids' hands as early as we can. So that's a focus for our next year.
All right. I'm going to put you on the spot here, but I won't hold you to it.
Okay.
What is your best guess for Reading Rocks for this summer? Are you guys going to kind of do the same thing, or you're hoping to get it more back to normal with that guest reader there, and everyone can kind of be around each other?
We would love to get back to as normal as we can. There's really something special about that interaction of a volunteer and a child with that reading and sharing of literacy and discussing of a book. We'd love to get back to that point. It might have to be a bit of a hybrid and some different things taken into consideration, but your question's right on the money. That's those conversations we're going to start to have and start to plan, and again work with our team, work with our health officials, and find the best way to help support our kids this summer with reading skills. We need it.
Yes, absolutely. Saturday Live. That's another one that everyone loves to read a book, but it's not as fun as going to the carnival.
Exactly.
So Saturday Live. What was the impact for this year? And then I'll follow up once we get through that.
Yeah, so Saturday Live, that was a big impact financially for our school PTAs, teams, and clubs, because the booths that make the carnival what it is are usually ran by those groups, and by not being able to have that, they weren't able to raise those funds like they have in typical years. The foundation, we survive on those sponsorships for Saturday Live. They were down a bit, so we're just having to be a bit more creative. We did a modified version of Saturday Live so we could have a little bit of that good old feeling, and we did a superhero fun run, either in person or virtually, with a staggered start time. So just to keep the tradition going.
Right.
Yeah.
And I know that that is one of your guys' biggest projects, and it's almost a year-long project. So I imagine, even more so than Reading Rocks, which is kind of goes in the summer. This usually goes in the fall, and I'm assuming you're going to be a bit more hopeful that we'll kind of be right back where we are with that. So where are you at in the planning for Saturday Live Fall 2021?
We are moving forward as if it's a normal year, but along that same line, we have Plan B, C, and D that falls along from, we anticipate this could be what it is, this is what it is. And so we've learned that contingent plans, strong conversations with our leaders in our community, but we're moving forward as we can, and again, having Plan B, C, and D. So.
Have you been able to reach out to a lot of those teachers or parents that are sponsoring those booths and kind of walk them through, here's Plan A, and we really hope Plan A happens. Here's, work with us on Plan B, Plan C, Plan D. Yeah,
that's really kind of our target as we move towards the middle end of March, as our PTAs, school groups, are kind of wrapping up this year, looking ahead to that next school year. So we'll come alongside them towards the end of March and start having those conversations. What do they envision? What are their expectations? Do they have concerns? So we can start really focusing and getting a great plan that we can start communicating as early on as possible.
Sure, absolutely. And then how has this kind of affected your grant programs? I know we're going to talk more about that again, but anything that you've seen within your grant programs that's been affected by COVID or the pandemic?
Yeah, so our classroom grant program that we offer each year for teachers, we open up those applications for teachers to apply in late December, and they are due, needs through those grants are due next Friday, March 5th. So we're starting to see those grants come in. We're seeing grants come from remote teachers as well too, seeing, anticipating what that could be like, how that could happen. I think everyone's just kind of drinking through the fire hose and just trying to figure things out. So it'll be interesting to see where those pieces, those needs are. We know with the elementary district cuts that happened a couple years ago, we just recently did a campaign to fund ukuleles in all of our elementary schools with orchestra being cut 2 years ago.
Sure.
Now students all have the opportunity in 5th grade for a stringed instrument. So we're working to fill those pieces. So it'll be interesting to see.
Sure. Have you been able, were you able to kind of keep that grant funding pool at about the same level, or did you have to ramp it down?
Yeah, so with that, I'm sure we're going to see a lot of grants come across for extra reading support, extra math support, all the way from elementary, middle to high school. We're already having those questions about extra resources. And so we know that we need to fund those. Those are key. We know the district doesn't have the dollars, so we're really pushing hard to get that funded. Our classroom grants are funded through individual donors who give gifts, and so we're seeing that really stay where it needs to be and really working with donors to do that. We've used Saturday Live Income, which we won't have this year, but fortunately we also do the SUV raffle through Denny Holt Chevrolet. Last year was our 3rd year of it, and we sold $20,000 more in raffle tickets than we had the year before. So we were able to make up a bit of that, those dollars, so we'll be able to use some of that to help fund those grants. Historically, we fund about $80,000 in grants for teachers, and so we're really pushing to do that, or even up towards of 85,000, because again, we know there's going to be that extra support for those materials for our reading and math, those core pieces that we know kids were impacted.
Sure. Tell us a little bit about the Backpack Jersey Day. What is it, and how does it work?
Yeah, so one of the areas of the foundation beyond our classrooms and that support is we also lend support to help our students in need, because it all goes together. And so one of those programs that we work with is meals for students who are suffering from lack of access to food, either after school or on the weekends or holidays. And so we operate the Backpack Meals program, which provides 2 shelf-stable breakfast and lunch over weekends and holidays for our elementary schools. And then in our middle and high schools, we have teen pantries. In each of those schools where students can, it's pretty quiet. Other students don't know that they're accessing it. They can walk in with their backpack, get the food that they need. And so we just recently, the Friday before the Super Bowl, we do a program called 406 Jersey Day, and kids in our school wear their favorite team jersey. They donate $1, their Spirit Days. We had a great giving campaign online and through our community, and we raised just over $20,000 during that goes directly to purchasing meals for students elementary through high school. For 99 cents per dollar goes directly to food, because it's ran by a great volunteer and partnership with the school district and the foundation. So.
All right. And was the Jersey Day, was that something new that you guys did this particular year? And I'm assuming you're sticking with it,
Yeah, no, we've done Jersey Day now, I think for 5. This might have been our 5th or 6th year. Okay. A strong partner that we have with the Backpack Meals program is Montana Food Bank Network, where we purchase our student-sized, kid-friendly meals. And so they started that program a few years ago, and so we just kind of loved the idea, and here we are. So it's been great, because again, a lot of those races like Run Turkey Run and some of those that donate their proceeds to Backpack Meals struggled this year. So it was huge for us to be able to fill that gap with this fundraiser.
Through that program, have you noticed through the pandemic, has there been an increased need for those backpack meals or those meals at the high school? I mean, what what has that program seen for growth, or not so much?
Yeah, so fortunately with Sodexo's partnership, federal dollars and stuff, we've been able to maintain our budget that we've had in past years for backpack meals. We know that there's more students, but there's additional dollars to help with that. But where we've really seen the need is in our teen pantries, our middle and high school kids. We've seen a lot of growth and more students using that resource. A lot of those kids, part-time service jobs and such that they are relying on to either survive themselves or help their families are maybe a little bit cut back or different things. So we're really seeing a great need in our teen pantries.
Sure. All right. Let's circle back a little bit on the grants. We had a little bit of this last year about this time where everyone went to online school, and then we had summer, and then we had people back in the classroom, and we had online. We'll talk a little bit about in-person class.
Yeah.
Have you seen grants coming in from the online teachers, and what are those requests looking like?
Yeah, so we're just starting to see them come in because I think we all kind of procrastinate. They're not due till next Friday, so we still got about 8 days left. But I have had several teachers reach out about that are teaching remotely, things such as additional books for students to have access to, just some different materials that they could find ways to provide to their students to access. So we're seeing some of those, and it'll be interesting to see the direction the district heads in the future, because it is a hefty price tag to run an remote online platform as well. So we're just doing what we can to help support and supplement at this time.
So a lot of those grants are, can you help me access this website because I have to pay so much for it? And do you think you'll be able to maybe, hey, we need access to website ABC, and I got the request from 3 different teachers. Maybe we can do this and spread it out and just say, Billings Public Schools, you have access to this website.
Yeah, we have a great committee that goes through their grants. We're pretty creative. We're pretty thrifty and really pay attention to how we can maximize those gifts that we give. For example, if we have lots of pieces of technology request, we combine those together to get better pricing. Sure. Back to our ukuleles, we had grants from 4 teachers 2 years ago and purchased 80 ukuleles. Instead of doing each teacher individually, we pulled them together so we could get better opportunities and various things. So.
Sure. And for the ones you're seeing coming in from the in-person classroom, heavy duty on the technology, or what are you seeing there?
More that support for reading and math, whether it's additional hands-on manipulatives for younger kids for learning, additional access to books. We're also seeing at the high school levels, we're seeing some of those career pieces, such as at West High, Mr. McCaskill has a great construction program. So materials to, we got to keep that piece moving too. So we're seeing a variety of things come through, but really I believe a lot more on those items to really help kids be able to dig deeper in their learning, whether it's hands-on manipulatives, whether it's access to classroom books that they can take home or online opportunities for access, and then sometimes that technology to support it. So,
have you seen anything in the grant requests that have come in that you can kind of point back to? Yeah, last year or the end of the year, everybody was out of school, and that prompted this particular teacher to say, I would love to have a grant for this. Are you seeing that in there where? I guess what I'm looking for is, okay, that prompted everyone to change how they're doing things. Are you seeing that reflected in some of the grant applications you're getting in that I never would have thought of this before?
Yeah, we're seeing some of that start to come through as we see those grant applications. We have to look at this differently, how we approach this, how we support our kids in their learning. So we are seeing those.
Okay, all right. Yeah. What has been, I promise we'll get to a more fun question, but
okay. right.
What has been some of the most trying things that the Education Foundation has had to deal with through the pandemic?
Yeah, I think it's just that ability to be in our schools, to have that interpersonal connection with our students and our teachers, and really that collaborative piece that we're able to partner with our community directly in that firsthand involvement. So I think that's been the most challenging part, just because it is such a great opportunity to get to be there and to really have that interaction and really sit down and learn. But we all learn how to Zoom very well and make things happen. Last spring, we do our classroom grants that we delivered last spring. Of course, it was April when we knew who our recipients were, and so we usually do a prize patrol where we go in and surprise the teacher in their classroom and let them know about their grant with their students, and they get excited and get to share what they're doing. Last spring we just had a bunch of surprise Zoom calls, so we're looking forward to getting to get to see that again and figuring out how we can make that work. So.
All right, well, let's get to the funner thing. What has been some of the most uplifting things that you've been able to, kind of witness or be a part of as with the foundation and the schools, given the trying times that we're in?
Just the outpouring of support from our community. When we talk about our backpack meals and our teen pantry programs, we also have a fund for our school district's homeless students to offer additional support, and the Angel Fund, and just seeing the people reaching out, asking questions, learning how they can help. Donations, $5, $10. I mean, it's just been amazing to see our community wanting to know how we can help our students that are struggling, and it's been a great piece. We have a donor who supports a summer literacy program for students in our title schools based out of Newman Elementary, and we were able to work with Riverstone Health, Billings Clinic, St. Veis, and our superintendent. And on June 1 of last summer, we had that program going and following those guidelines, and we're able to start immediately helping to fill those gaps. I mean, that was so exciting to see how everybody came together to make that happen. And then I think just our teachers and our parents and our kids. I've had the opportunity to visit with other districts in our state and across our region, and we're one of very few that have in person every day since school opened in August for our kids, and also have the opportunity for our kids to be remote. I am just so thankful for our educators, our administrators, our students and families for just making it work and doing what they need to do. It's really, really surprising. I mean, not surprising, it's just uplifting, and just very thankful for that.
All right. Where do you think has been the one thing that the foundation has been able to make the biggest impact during the course of the pandemic? What's one thing you're like, man, we really did well with that?
I would say our summer literacy program. In the summer when we're coming off of, oh my gosh, my school doors just closed yesterday, and not getting to go back to school, access to our libraries and other things aren't open, to be able to have Reading Rocks at some type of normalcy and getting hands on the books of our kids and families, that was just so uplifting. Our volunteers, everybody who just came together and really made it work in our strange times over the summer. And then I would just say our community coming together to support our kids and families who are struggling, with the loss of our students just in this month, and just seeing our community and kids, families, educators coming together to support one another has been just one of the most uplifting things, just that general sense of support and belonging.
Are there things that you've been forced to do this year because of the pandemic that you're going to carry forward with that? Okay, we were forced to go down this road, and we probably wouldn't have gone there to begin with, but this worked pretty well, and we're going to continue to do that.
Yeah, so, and we're still improving in that area. I would say outreach via social media, just to let people know what we're doing, how we're doing it, providing more opportunities and options for donors to give gifts, really that outreach part and that communication part, moving that direction more. We have a lot of work to do there as far as just our accountability too. That's part of what it is, sharing, this is what we're doing, this is how we're doing it, this is why we're doing it. So we're getting better at that. Probably wouldn't have gone down that road as much as we have, but it's a good road to go down to. And I guess Zoom meetings, we can meet anywhere, do anything, and so that's kind of opened some doors as well.
Yeah, and I think we were talking about this a little bit before we started, that for your board meetings, you used to, oh, hey, 70%, that's pretty good. These people, everybody's got something going on. So if I can get 70%, I'm pretty happy. When you went to Zoom, look, hey, everybody could kind of be there. So, is that something like, okay, well, we'll have the in-person meeting, but there's also going to be a Zoom invite. So if you do something along those lines.
Yeah, we'll probably continue to do that and continue to explore those options. So those have been good things that we've taken away and learned.
I've just kind of started having some of those meetings where you have the in-person kind of group there, and then 5-6 people online, and it I don't know that we've perfected that yet, but I can see that as something that that's very helpful into the future.
Yeah, and there's always pieces to take away. We made some changes on Reading Rocks. We're like, hey, that was kind of cool. So we'll continue to do that. A few little tweaks here and there, things that we didn't know. Same with Saturday Live with some of the outreach. Our SUV raffle, I mean, it was great to see just the growth in that and support there. So there's some things we'll take away. There's some things that we don't want to go back to. So
I think that's true for everybody. What about some of your good donors, some of your donors that have been with you for a long time? Are they kind of staying where they are? Are they stepping up even more? What have you seen out of your long-term donors?
Yeah, still right there with us, working on those programs, helping support those areas that they're passionate in. We have endowments that we can work with donors to set up for student scholarships. So we've added a student scholarship or two over the course of the last couple months. We've added where a donor for a teacher who passed away, very passionate about youth literacy, and so we're able to set up a fund where each year we can fund some grants for teachers that really meet her passion. So we've really seen some of our donors really become engaged in those areas and help support those passions, and it's been great to work with them and get to know those things, and it's really opened our eyes on areas of, wow, yeah, we can do better there. So.
Sure, absolutely. Well, as we kind of wrap up here, gaze into your crystal ball a little bit, maybe past the pandemic. And what do you kind of see coming to the Education Foundation in the next 3 to 5 years? What are the things and projects that you guys are going to be working on in the years to come?
Yeah, continuing to grow our collaboration and partnership with the school district. They're going to have some new things that they didn't know that they would have a year or 2 years ago, and so really, how can we come alongside our school district and help to support those items and be that key partner and collaborator in our community with our schools, with our businesses. As we look at career and technical education, we look at job needs. How can we really help bridge those areas? How can we help support our students who are struggling? How can we help support our students who are excelling? So really growing that connection and value of what we can bring to both our students' families and our community long term.
All right. Well, Krista, thank you so much for coming on, visiting us with us. I know it's been a challenging time for everybody, but especially an organization that loves to have people come together. This would be a hard time to do it. But thank you so much for all that you and everyone who works with the foundation does to make Billings Public Schools better each and every day.
Well, thank you. We love our partnership with Community 7, too. You guys help us out a lot.
Good deal.
Thank you.